and Eastern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. This afternoon in Whitesburg, multiple first responders worked to rescue a man after a construction incident. WYMT's Madison Carmouche was there as it was all happening, and she joins us live from downtown Whitesburg with an update on this. Madison?
I'm actually right here at the construction site where everything happened, but the first thing I want to say is that man is going to be okay. He was responsive the whole time while they were trying to free his legs, but I will say it was a scary sight, and community members here in Whitesburg responded quickly. Just after 2:30, people started running toward yelling coming from the construction in downtown Whitesburg near Veterans Memorial Park. Whitesburg police and fire were on the scene quickly with Neon ambulance right behind them. The man was trapped from the waist down, and community members worked alongside officials to help rescue him. After approximately 45 minutes, he was taken to the hospital by the Neon ambulance. Now, I was actually here for the Whitesburg parade that will be happening still in about 30 minutes in downtown Whitesburg when I heard the commotion, and I came over here to see what was going on. But overall, we are just glad that he is all right. And live in downtown Whitesburg, I'm Madison Carmouche, and I'll send it back to you. All
right, Madison, certainly could have ended a lot worse, and it should be a good evening for the Christmas parade in downtown Whitesburg. Thank you for that update. Well, Kentucky's Public Service Commission accepted a settlement in Kentucky Power's rate case. The case looked into the utilities price adjustment method from November 2020 to October of 2022. As a result of the settlement, the PSC says the utility will refund ratepayers nearly $17 million. At least $6.7 million plus a 10% credit will be allocated to the residential class in future bills.
Welcome to the weekend, and it was an overall nice start to the weekend as we had temperatures in the upper 40s and low 50s, and right now we're seeing temperatures still in the mid to upper 40s. We're seeing clear skies across the board, temperatures between 45 and 48. Winds are light out of the east, and we take a look at live pinpoint Doppler radar. Right now all is quiet across eastern Kentucky, and for the most part it'll be quiet for the day on Saturday. It's when we get into Saturday night that rain chances start to pick up. For tonight, though, we'll see overnight lows in the upper 20s and low 30s. We'll see temperatures in the mid 40s by the 7 o'clock hour. We'll go down to 36 by the 1 o'clock time frame. Then when you wake up in the morning, temperatures again in the upper 20s and low 30s will greet you. We'll see cloudy skies. Now, coming up in the first alert forecast, we'll talk about the weekend. We'll talk about temperatures maybe going up in the upper 50s and low 60s one day, only for it to drop again. Details on that in a few minutes. Steve.
All right, Eric, thank you. President-elect Donald Trump heads to Maryland this weekend for the Army-Navy football game, where he will be joined by key players in his incoming administration. CBS's Erica Brown has the latest from Washington.
Donald Trump's inner circle will gather on the sidelines of one of college football's greatest rivalries. Those expected to join the president-elect's suite at the Army-Navy game include Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, as well as Elon Musk. Plus, Trump's embattled pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who has been fighting for support on Capitol Hill.
And I'm going to be supporting Pete for the nomination for the Department of Defense.
Absolutely. And I'm, Senator, just grateful for the time, for the opportunity, for your commitment to defense.
Pennsylvania's John Fetterman was the first Senate Democrat to meet with Hegseth.
I'm going to follow the process. I'm going to listen to what my colleagues on the other side continue to say.
While those meetings continue, at least one Senate Republican has said pressure is building to fall in line with Trump's picks.
The approach is going to be everybody toe the line. Everybody line up. We got you here, and if you want to survive, you better be good.
One of Trump's longtime conservative critics is bowing out.
That's that, guys. You never have to see me again.
Senator Mitt Romney held his final news conference before retiring from a 2-decade political career.
I'm a narrow slice, if you will. What we used to call the mainstream Republicans, the stream has gotten a little smaller. It's more like the Main Creek Republicans now.
President-elect Trump returns to Florida after the Army-Navy game. In the coming days, he's set to have dinner there with the widow of the late Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Also expected at that Army-Navy game on Saturday, the military veteran who was acquitted of homicide this week in the death of a mentally ill New York subway rider. Daniel Perry was invited to attend by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. Elon Musk says the Securities and Exchange Commission is demanding he pay a fine or face charges. The billionaire says the SEC has ordered him to settle charges about failing to disclose his initial purchase of shares of Twitter. In April 2022, Musk disclosed he bought 9% of Twitter's shares ahead of his purchase of the entire company later that year. But the SEC says he did not disclose those purchases within 10 days as required by law. Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi is in a Luxembourg hospital. In a statement, her office says the Speaker Emerita, who is 84, suffered an injury while on a bipartisan congressional trip to the small European country. The lawmakers are there to mark the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge. The injury happened during an official engagement, but Pelosi's office did not elaborate. Her team says she is receiving excellent treatment from doctors. For the first time in more than a year, the U.S. Supreme Court is going to tackle a major religion-based case. The justices agreed to decide on whether religious entities should be exempt from state unemployment taxes. Officials with the Catholic Charities Bureau in Wisconsin say the state's Labor Department violated the First Amendment when it turned down its request for an exemption for unemployment taxes. The Missouri family of the American found in Syria after months in captivity says his release is the best Christmas gift they could have hoped for. Travis Timmerman was found in Damascus after he and others were freed from prison. A U.S. defense official confirms today Timmerman has been flown out of Syria and is with State Department personnel. Meanwhile, the search for freelance journalist Austin Tice, who was kidnapped while on assignment in Syria, is still ongoing. Federal officials say aircraft stoking fear in New Jersey might not be drones. They say that they cannot corroborate reported sightings. Witnesses and some experts sound skeptical of that assessment based on how the aircraft move and how many people have seen them. Whatever they are, security agencies seem unable to explain or stop them. Some New Jersey officials say the aircraft appear able to evade traditional radar and police helicopters, so the mystery continues. The clock is ticking on a potential U.S. ban of TikTok. The ban is set to take effect in less than 6 weeks. As the company moves on its legal options, tech companies are trying to determine what the social media landscape would look like without the app. TikTok continues to fight a law signed by President Biden back in April that requires it divest from Chinese-based parent company ByteDance by January 19th. Lawmakers have argued TikTok poses national security concerns. Planning commissioners are raising concerns about changes to a controversial student housing project near the University of Kentucky. Developers of the 6-story apartment complex on West High Street in Lexington gave a final design yesterday that differed from the initial plan. Changes included fewer windows, removal of townhomes, and the loss of 3rd-story balconies. Neighbors and some commissioners criticized the new design, claiming it strays from what was promised. Coming up on Mountain